My name is Brandon. I have experienced weed-induced psychosis and lived through it. I had heard stories of people in psychosis or a psych ward, but actually had a friend that did that or was involved in that. And actually I even Googled it after it happened. And even on Google, it was really hard to find. I was at a point where I was just smoking weed and I thought I had things under control, and started losing touch with reality.
This is Brandon when he was little. He just was a little joy. He was such an easy little baby. When he started preschool, there he is, just made friends. Even he'd joke and say he had 3 girlfriends. He was only 3, just adorable little boy. Well, when I realized there was something really wrong with him, things he was saying, the things he was doing were very odd and unusual. It was an up and down situation with him. It was a very, very scary time. I believe this high THC marijuana was something he had only been using maybe a year, maybe less than a year. And I don't think we took it as seriously as we should have back then. With hindsight, I think we both recognized that if we would have taken maybe more action at that point, maybe we would have been able to stop it before it got so out of hand.
I started to get the sense that people were after me, and it was pretty random too. It wasn't something crazy that necessarily triggered me, but I was driving and I got this sensation that if I pull over at any point, people are going to kill me. I kept driving for about 12 hours, and the tire in my car had gone low in pressure, so I pulled over. But I was so afraid to be outside of my car for too long that as I was putting air into the tire, I was staring at the rim to look behind me in case someone was gonna come after me. And I just stopped after a few seconds and just kept driving because I didn't feel safe enough to even put the air in. And then as I keep driving, the tire blows out, and this guy on the freeway passes by me, and he sees that I have my tires screwed, and he's telling me to pull over, and I'm yelling at him I know what you're trying to do, you're trying to kill me. Finally, I lose control and I go head-on crash with somebody. The police came and they were just well, are you loaded? And I was no, I'm not. I had been driving that whole day and I'd stopped using. So I had my family come pick me up, and again, I lose touch with my mom, another break with reality.
During his psychotic break, I was looking over at somebody who was somebody different. He may look like my son, but he wasn't my son. And it scared me because all of a sudden I'm just looking at somebody that I have no idea who he is. I didn't know if this was going to be something temporary, if this was something permanent. And my heart, it broke.
I don't really remember a whole lot of how I was. I have glimpses, moments, but the in-between is I have no idea. I just remember getting really angry, and I grabbed her laptop and I held it up really high and I dropped it on the ground, and then I smashed the TV in the hotel room we were at, and I just took to the streets, going in front of cars, trying to mess with them, I guess. It was just random erratic behavior.
There is definitely a lot of deep-rooted pain that we're walking around with, not knowing if your son is alive or dead is a very scary feeling.
After that psychosis was a crazy depression that I had never experienced in my life. So that one event scarred the next 6 to 8 months. And it only got better because I literally went somewhere, and was away from everyone. It was not getting better. My family tried to take me in and help me get back on my feet and clear up. But because of how bad I was feeling, I just couldn't even leave my room.
They took my son from me. He had no goals, no dreams. He just was a shell of a person. It was really hard to watch the slow decline of the person he was to the person he had become.
I went 40 days without showering. My skin was starting to peel on my face. And not only that, but I was so embarrassed that like I would hide this from my family. Like I hear my dad coming in the driveway, I would go into the bathroom and put water on my hair because I knew he would ask me if I had showered. And he was excited the day that I started spending more time in the living room as his 25-year-old son. That was like a win for us. And that's well after the psychosis. So it really impacted not just then, but like my life after.
We don't talk a lot anymore about that period because I know that's a very painful period for him, and I know for me as well. But when we do talk about it, it is still somewhat of a confusing conversation we have because I remember everything that happened, but he says he doesn't remember a lot of it.
I definitely have gone back in touch with like a lot of the person that I always wanted to be and knew I was. Even past that, like, oh my God, I didn't know like the potential that I could have. But it took a lot. It wasn't like, okay, I had this psychotic break. Now let's just go back to living life. I took the medication, I went to the place, and now I'm good. It wasn't like that. Like I've been in a structured treatment center environment for 3 years. And I'm gonna be there probably for almost another year, right? And that's not normal. Like, you shouldn't have to do that. So I was like 14 when this photo was taken. But that was when I first like smoked weed. And it's crazy to think like how little I was. And I felt so big and like, you know, I didn't feel like I was that little. But looking at it now, it's like, dang, that's crazy to think at such a young age. And my dad like yelled at the gardeners, I heard, because he thought the smell was from the gardeners smoking weed, but it was their like 15-year-old, you know? So yeah, it trips me out to think at that age, like that, at that size, you know?
It's been a long journey, certainly doesn't end here. He will be in recovery the rest of his life. We do live in a culture of normalization of marijuana, so you know, unfortunately, there is marijuana all around us. So my hope is that my son will continue to just stay in recovery and to continue on with his life and to hopefully keep giving back to others that are experiencing his story.
If I could go back and like not have done the things that I did, of course, right? Doesn't mean I'm not grateful for where I am today. I feel super blessed to have experienced that and be able to just like sit here and talk about it.
Just using marijuana, my son went into a psychosis. Just marijuana put my son into a psychiatric hospital. Just marijuana could have taken my son's life. We found out the hard way that it is definitely a very dangerous drug. He's a different person today. Today he has goals. Today he talks about recovery, talks about his family, talks about himself, he talks about other people. It's like a different person, and that's about the time when I started to really feel hopeful that my son is on the right journey.